This story is a little long, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. This happened long ago, back when I was a young teenager. If memory serves me right, this took place on a warm and sunny day in July somewhere in Virginia. I was 14 years old at the time and had some birthday money that I was excited to blow. My parents took me to my favorite place to go anytime I had money to spend, the local thrift store. I always loved to search for unique and vintage items, and our local store always had the best items. I was running through the store tossing cute clothes, old books, and shoes in the cart when it caught my eye. A white-painted, antique glass cat. It had a little red collar and blue eyes. I squeezed and instantly fell in love. I gently placed it in my cart, and we checked out with my haul. Once we got back to the house, I picked a special place in my bedroom to put my new glass cat. Right on my dresser, near my jewelry box. Welcome home, I said and smiled. Just then I felt a gentle brushing against my leg. It was my cat Mitzi. She was rubbing back and forth on my leg and purring. Now Mitzi, I haven't forgotten about you, I said with a laugh and reached down to pet her. She meowed back up at me, and then she jumped up on my dresser. She looked at the glass cat and hissed, "Whoa, Mitzi," I said as I quickly grabbed her off the dresser. In her panic, she scratched my arm and ran off. "Ouch," I yelled as I grabbed my arm. It was lightly bleeding, so I went off to the bathroom to grab a bandage. My mother heard the commotion and came over to the bathroom door to check on me and see if I was okay. "Lily, are you okay?" she asked with concern. "I heard you yell from the other room." "Yes, I'm okay," I replied. "My new glass cat just spooked Mitzi." "Silly kitty, she must have thought it was a real cat," I said with a chuckle. My mother went back off to finish cooking dinner, and I went back to my room. As I entered, I noticed the glass cat was laying face down. At first I was confused, but then I realized that Mitzi must have jumped up and knocked it over when I was in the bathroom. I sighed and put it back upright. Then I went and shut my bedroom door to keep Mitzi out so she wouldn't end up breaking anything. "That crazy cat," I said. Right after saying that, I heard a soft meow from somewhere behind me. I turned around expecting to see Mitzi, but nothing was there. I froze in place looking around but saw nothing. "What the heck?" I said out loud. I moved over to my bed and looked underneath, but still no sign of Mitzi. Right after I stood up, I heard scratching coming from my door. I walked over and opened it up, and there was Mitzi. She was rubbing on the now open door and meowing loudly. Before I could react, I heard my mother yelling from the other room. "Did you feed the cat?" she called out. "I am now," I answered back as I ran off to feed Mitzi. She happily strided behind me, purring and meowing all the way to her food bowl. After dinner, I was getting ready for bed. I was standing in the bathroom brushing my teeth when I remembered that meow I heard earlier. My mom walked past the door, so I decided to tell her about it. "That's strange," she replied. "Maybe you were just hearing Mitzi and thought it was coming from inside your room," she suggested. I tried to accept her answer because it was better than me thinking I was hearing things. But even so, I didn't fully believe it. I just simply tried to forget about it and focus on other things. Later that night, I was laying in bed when I felt what I thought was Mitzi jump on the blanket. She made her way to my feet, and I felt her lay down. I snuggled my face into my pillow, getting ready to fall back asleep when I heard meowing from the floor. I looked down to see Mitzi sitting there looking up at me. I sat up very confused because I had just felt her hop on the bed not more than 5 seconds ago. I quickly turned on my lamp and sat all the way up in bed, pulling my feet towards me. I looked over where I thought previously Mitzi had been, but nothing was there. Strangely, when I placed my hands on the spot, it was cold to the touch like ice. I was very disturbed by what had just happened. Mitzi finally hopped on the bed for real this time, and I sat there just petting her until she started to doze off. I couldn't fall asleep, however. I was still too disturbed by everything, and the adrenaline was making my heart pound. I sat there for a long time until I started hearing the birds outside. I finally started to fall asleep, but got later awakened by the sounds and smells of my mother preparing breakfast. As I walked out to the kitchen, my mother looked at me with a little bit of concern. "What's up with you?" she said. You look like death. Didn't you get any sleep last night?" "Wow, thanks a lot, Mom," I said with sarcasm. "No, I couldn't sleep," I admitted as I told her what had happened. She looked at me and felt my head checking for fever. She then told me that perhaps I felt a spring in the bed pop or something. I could tell she was worried, but was just trying to make me feel better. I pretended to agree with her suggestion and sat down to eat breakfast. Blueberry pancakes and some bacon waited for me, and soon I forgot all about what had just happened to me the previous night. It was a few days later that I noticed something very weird was going on. Mitzi was acting off. She just wasn't her usual self. She was on edge, hissing at things, and sometimes even biting or scratching us when we tried to pet her. The whole situation had me worried sick that something was wrong with her. We took her to the vet, but they didn't find any signs of illness, which was a relief, but it still didn't solve her bizarre behavior. The vet suggested that maybe a stray cat was wandering our property at night, and she was smelling him, and that's why she was so on edge. They gave me some cat pheromone spray to use around the house to try and calm her nerves. This helped a little bit, but it didn't stop her behavior entirely. Sometimes she would act spooked. Her hair would stand up, and she would stare seemingly at nothing and hiss or growl, then run off. This behavior went on for weeks. Other strange things started happening around our house. I would wake up with scratches in weird places that looked like cat scratches. I'd hear scratching on the doors and walls that sounded like claws scraping. All of this was freaky enough, but it's what happened next that made my blood run cold. One night I was laying in bed with my bedroom door open. I was relaxing when I started hearing what sounded like scratching again. I looked over at my open bedroom door to see what looked like a white fluffy cat. I stared at it thinking I was going crazy. It couldn't be Mitzi. She was a calico cat and looked nothing like this cat. I started feeling sick to my stomach and stared for a few minutes as it stared back. Suddenly, it started shape-shifting and it stood up on two legs. It transformed into this ghoulish-looking creature. The creature had gray skin, yellow eyes, and bat-like ears. I screamed and pulled the covers over my head. I heard my mother running into my room and she asked me what was wrong. I told her about the horrible apparition that I had just seen, and I could tell she looked worried. She stayed with me for a while, trying to calm me down and telling me that it was okay and maybe I had just dreamed it. I knew what I saw though, and it really disturbed me. I wasn't able to fall back asleep that night. A few days went by after this, and I was in the kitchen making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I felt a gentle brushing against my leg. I thought it was Mitzi rubbing against my leg, but when I looked down, nothing was there. I got that sick feeling in my stomach again and started looking around for Mitzi to make absolutely sure that she hadn't just been in the room with me. As I turned around, I heard a loud sound that sounded like metal hitting the wall beside where I was standing. The butter knife I was using to spread my peanut butter was laying on the floor. Something had thrown it in my direction, and a little bit of peanut butter was stuck to the wall where it had hit. This is when I had enough. Whatever was haunting my house was messing with my cat, terrorizing me, and now it was trying to hurt me. I turned to the internet researching about hauntings and read a story about haunted objects. I realized that sometimes spirits could attach themselves to certain objects, and then it dawned on me that the only recent item in our home that could potentially be haunted was the glass cat I had brought home. I quickly ran to my room, picked up the glass cat and started towards the trash. I opened up the trash can and started to throw the figure in when suddenly it felt as if my finger had been sliced open. I looked down and blood was dripping from my finger. The glass cat had no cracks or broken pieces. There was no way for me to have cut my finger on it. It was as if the glass figure knew I was getting rid of it and it wanted to fight back. I tossed it in the trash, tied the bag with my finger still bleeding and in pain. I took the bag to the outside trash can and chucked it inside. The trash was picked up the following day, and that's when all the activity stopped. Mitzi started acting herself again, and everything went back to normal. I have no idea to this day how or why that glass cat was haunted or what was attached to it. All I know is that you should be careful when bringing antiques home. You never know what negative energy may be attached to them or what kind of entities may be waiting to haunt you. I was asleep, well jolted awake when it happened. A loud bark from my German Shepherd that sounded scared. I rushed and got my jacket and gun out. I went outside to see what it was barking at, but I saw nothing. I told my dog Billy I'll get you inside. I took him inside my house, but he was too scared to come, so I picked him up. A week went by without seeing or hearing the thing or whatever it was. I went to go feed my dog until I heard something in the creek. Splash, I turned to the noise. It was 4 feet tall, white, stretched skin. I thought I was high or on psychedelics, but I didn't even eat mushrooms or hit a cart yet. The creature, it was real. On Tuesday night, I heard a loud scream and a whimper until dog barks and yelps. I ran out to see what the hell happened. I saw it again, running away. I looked at my dog. It was mauled and flesh ripped off, and skull was crushed. I ran inside my house to grab a flashlight and a 30/30 Winchester to go after it. I ran into the woods to track it down and realized that I was lost, and it had been 2 hours, but I kept seeing it move from one tree to another, and it was slow, so I took a shot, and it screamed. So I ran after it from the woods to my cousin's farm field, which was 2 miles away from civilization. I saw the creature duck behind corn stalks, and bang went for the shot. "You're dead," I screamed in anger at it. It smiled and ran to me. 3 shots were fired. I missed 1 shot. The other to hit it. I noticed it was running slow, but its legs were moving quickly. I ran away, crashing through the cornfield into my cousin's yard and onto his porch. I asked him if he can help me with this thing. I showed him. He told me to get inside the house and to not look out the windows. I did as I was told. Morning went by and the creature was at the door. We were scared and enraged because Billy was a good dog. I opened a blind. It was the biggest mistake, and I regret it, because right as I opened it, the thing was staring at me with hollow eyes, large grin, and sharp teeth. I asked my cousin what I should do. "Don't look away." He shouted, but it was too late. I already did, and it let out a terrifying scream that I still hear today. We ran out from the back door and into his car and got the hell out of there. And we stayed away for a while. My cousin asked me if I had summoned it. "No," I replied. "Why?" I asked. He sighed. "Well, that thing can kill anything that attacks it." My eyes got big from horror. "So if you summon it, can you unsummon it?" I asked. "Yeah, but it won't be easy." He told me the rest, but I won't go into detail. Ever since that day, I haven't seen it again. Today I can still hear Billy's barks and that scream. I don't know what happened to the creature, but someone please tell me what it is, because it's looking at me right now, and it has been 2 months since I last saw it, and now I might just go to a Christian church and get a preacher to get me to know who God is. Also, I need my soul saved and a clean mind. I think I summoned it went high. Hi everyone, my name is Ank, and I'm 20. I've never been good at writing, but I've been wanting to post for a while now. I think I should just start off by explaining some things that will make sense later. First, of me and my mom live alone in my grandma's old house. It's a pretty big house, and so is the yard. We have this little porch thing that's attached to the living room, but it has bars around it like a little cage, so you can sit outside and still be semi-safe even at night. Also, I'd like to mention we're very religious, and even though I believe in a lot of folklore, my mom mostly just believes in ghosts and demons, and we regularly like to cleanse our home with oil and prayers. Well, maybe not as regularly as we should, but mostly when we get bad vibes or something happens. Now let me get to what happened. It was starting to get late and dark, and my mom was on the porch with our dog. I was in my room. I remembered how my mom has been complaining about the dog always barking at the bushes and trees in the left corner of our yard, but I didn't really think anything of it. Dogs bark all the time, especially mine. This particular night, our dog Susan was very winded up, barking like crazy there, but it was too dark for my mom to see anything. So she had the idea of taking pictures with her flash on to see if she can see anything at all, and at first everything looked normal, she said. But when she zoomed into one of the photos and saw 2 glowing dots and a black mass attached to them. She got goosebumps and ran to me in my room to show me the photos. I could definitely see the figure and the eyes. We sent that photo to many of our family and friends. Some said it looked like a Bigfoot, but we live in South Africa. I don't think we have that here. Others said it looks like a black mass or a ape. One of my brothers said it's just reflecting lights of something. But he's not the nicest guy and would argue to us about absolutely anything. Also, there are no lights or water in the part of the yard. It's just thick bush and trees. So I don't see how that could be it. Plus the shape of the figure can't be explained. I ended up closing all the windows and doors. My mom was really too scared to. I don't know why I wasn't as scared. Maybe because I didn't experience it firsthand. We blessed the house that night with oil and prayed the blood of Jesus to protect our house, us, and also family members. And the night after that, my dog no longer barked when she was outside. I still think I have that photo. I'll post it here, and you can decide for yourself if you believe, cause I know it did, and it's real. Many more smaller things have happened in this old house, such as voices, dark shadows, demon on the wall, and noises. But this is the only thing I have proof of, so it's all I'll be posting. I know it's not that scary, but it's a true story. Thank you so much for watching this video.